This is how I replaced my fan on the Toshiba A100 VA7 laptop. It requires a full disassembly. I'm not a professional, so if you use any part of this video, do it so at your own risk. The first step is to remove the cover above the keyboard. It's got little tabs on top of the keys that like to pop off when you're doing it. So if you're not careful, some of the keys will pop off, but they're easily reseated afterwards, so don't worry about that. Here at the F6 key, you can see how close the tabs are to the keys, so it's no wonder why they want to pop off. I figured once I got this part off that it would just pull out, but it doesn't. As you can see, I'm bending it like a moron. You don't want to be bending your cover like that. I figured it must be attached in the back by popping off some more tabs. No, all I did was chewing up the case. There's no tabs in the back. Once you get the initial tabs off in the front by the keys, all you have to do is lay down the screen all the way, and the entire top plate just clicks off very easily with no effort whatsoever. Now I'm going to put the keys back on that popped off, and all you have to do is hover them over where they belong, situate them exactly right, and then just push down and they'll click into place. There you go. That was easy enough. There's two screws on each side that hold the keyboard in. Once you lift up the keyboard, there's a ribbon cable underneath. It's held in by this black tab thing, and all you do is you lift up the tab on each side. As you can see how it moves, and on one on each side before you remove the cable. Next, we want to remove the ground cable. It goes to the screen just underneath. Remember what screw it goes to, and remember to put that ground cable back on. Once that's out of the way, there's a VGA cable that's there. You can see how many pins that has and the port that's there. Be careful with that. It's a fragile cable as well. And then we've got this black and white wire that runs into the screen. I believe that's for running the backlight, but I'm not positive. Either way, when you're working with a laptop, even if you can move faster, you want to move a little slower than normal just because you don't want to break anything. A lot of these parts weren't made to be serviced by the regular general public, so take extra time. These I pulled off with the help of a screwdriver and exerting very little force. So you can see I've got them off now. And you have to pull it out of the track that holds the cord in. Next, you want to remove the 4 screws that hold the display on the laptop. You notice I've got one hand supporting the screen at the same time I'm removing the screw for support. Make sure the screen doesn't just fall off. I've got a little magnetic screwdriver that helps me take those screws off. So there, it just comes right off in one piece. So next thing we want to do is remove all of the deep screws in the bottom of the laptop. Because they hold the upper case on. there's enough of them. There's probably about 8 or 9 of them. Now, I wasn't sure at this point. I figured I might as well remove all the pieces underneath in case any of them are required to be removed. To get the top, there's the hard drive there. So it was kind of self-discovery about where everything is on the laptop. Turns out nothing other than the main screws had to be removed. So once you have those screws removed, the upper cover just clicks off. You can see those gray posts is where the screws were plugged or screwed into. Now you don't want to pull it all the way off because you will see there's 3 ribbon cables that are attached to the upper cover. So you definitely don't want to just yank it off like that. You can see 2 on the right and 1 on the left. And there's also 1 in the front too. So at this point I can see the old fan and it's just caked with dust really bad. I won't be able to work easily though unless I move it out of the way. So this little ribbon cable I think does the touchpad and the mouse buttons, so it doesn't have a lot of play, so I have to remove that. And the other ones I'm just going to leave in place. Just carefully twisting the top cover to expose the fan where that's all I'm interested in right now in replacing. And after the fan was out, you can see I thought it was just a black pad, rubber pad. It's just caked with dust. That's it cleaned, a big difference. So now I just installed the new fan, which I'm not going to show you, but it's pretty self-explanatory. Reassembly is just the reverse. Be careful. And I'll give you an example. Those couple of pins that I carefully pried off last time, well, I'm going to reseat them. And rather than just press them on, you can see how difficult it is. In this part of the video, I felt it necessary to include it because this was probably the most difficult part of doing the disassembly. Was trying to reattach these without bending or breaking them. It seemed like it took forever. And you can see how small the pin is in the very center of that circle. And I didn't want to bend it. And you'll see when it snaps on, there. It just snapped on perfectly. You want to use as little of force as possible when touching these kind of things. So I put it all back together and we're going to see if the laptop works now. Sure enough, it does. The benefit of doing this is the fan blows cool air now and the laptop runs much faster and much quieter.